Welcome to Normalize You, your place to help us redefine normal. I'll be your host and your moderator, and I'll be here to help the world understand you and to help you understand the world. I just have two questions for you. What does the word normal mean to you? And how's it going, everyone?
yoU.
What's up?
What it do?
Good morning.
That's why his views are the way they are, sir. All right, so today we're gonna do things a little bit different, not necessarily a question, more so just something that we often overlook when it comes to life. And that particular topic is stop taking kindness for weakness. And to start that off, what do you define as kindness?
For me, I'd say kindness is anything that you go out of your way to do for anybody, whether it's an act of service or just simply being there for them or just hearing what they have to say. Like anything that is of benefit to anybody else but serves no benefit for you, but you're doing it strictly for the reason of them having an advantage that you're willingly giving up.
I would just say doing something for somebody else. Like even if it's something as simple as just, holding the door for somebody as they come, like as they're running up, holding the elevator. Like even little things like that are a kindness because you didn't have to. You're not obligated to do it. So I think it's showing any type of care for somebody else, even if it's just something that little that you weren't already obligated to do.
I guess I'll quadruple up on that one with different words, but same perspective. It's just doing something just out of just pure generosity. Like you barely thought of it, just let me do this, and it happened.
I do believe it's just an act. It's an act. Kindness is going out of your way for, well, to me anyway, going out of your way to be able to do something, and just I don't want to say trying to be the best person you could be, because that kind of falls within the realms of so many different things. But just when it comes down to like your decision making skills, you tend to try to make the best decision. Um, but I guess what do you gain, like in the sense of kindness? We often overlook certain things as far as uh taking advantage of people's kindness. Um, it's like we view kindness as a weakness, and because we view kindness as a weakness, we tend to take advantage of people's kindness. In a sense, we're calling them weak. Um, what do you think we gain from taking advantage of other people's kindness?
I think people think that they're gaining an advantage, like that person's always going to be kind, so they're never going to take an aggressive step or something like that. I don't think that's accurate, but I think that's how it's starting to be perceived. Like that person is never going to make an aggressive move. They're always going to do what's best for everybody else, type of situation. Um, I'll leave it there.
I'd say because a lot of people don't want to be seen as weak. I guess it's a false show of bravado by arbitrarily being rude. So they don't want to seem like, hey, you can just do anything to me because I won't think anything bad of it because that's just the type of person I am. So they won't really show kindness or they won't recognize somebody else's kindness.
Personally, I believe it's all of perspective. Like you can tell somebody no in a kind manner, right? Like you can be rude to somebody aggressively. You can be rude to somebody calmly, but like kindness, that's I believe it gets taken advantage of when a person sees that someone is naive just to them being a good person. And they believe that no matter what a person does, they're going to keep being good because they know that they're a good person internally. So externally, they always see that. Even if a person had done and told them no last time, they were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna still do this kind gesture because it's this person." I think it's more of an interpersonal level to kindness, other than just giving a homeless person a coin.
Um, it's funny because like I myself, I try my best not to take advantage of people's kindness, but in a sense, I do. I don't necessarily think that people think that someone is weak because you take advantage of their kindness. I think that a lot of times people take advantage of people's kindness just for the sake of them thinking they can get away with it. And it's like it's more on the individual. Now, this is the part we just pretty much talked. This I think it's more on the individual that's taking advantage of the kindness because I would like to get in that person's head and wonder why. Like, what made you think that the decision you made was good? And because you look at it where it's like you go out of your way for people, you do this, they need you for something, you're there for them. They ask you to help them with a task, you're there for them. They ask you to take them somewhere, do something like that. It's like you're there for them, but it's like those same people turn around and stab in your back, and you wonder why. That's my answer to that question, and more so a segue into just the talking point of this conversation because I actually just wonder why. And I think I spend a lot of my time actually trying to be as kind as I could possibly be. So when things happen, I kind of look back and just I get so confused because I'm like, what transpired within our friendship or within our relationship or within our knowing of each other to cause this action to happen? What up, dog? Literally.
Yeah, mascot return.
Um, can I question this question?
Go
We're just
for it.
talking. Go ahead.
And I'm just asking y'all three, um, does kindness create narcissists or bullies, like indirectly?
No, I don't think
No,
so. That's an
and
innate
society
like
has.
personality. That's who you
So
are.
where
Like
does and not to cut in, but it's like I get your question, Jeff. Like when does the taking advantage of start initially become habit of thought? Like for a person to be like, oh, this person gonna do it. Let me keep
I
taking
think that's become
advantage.
a. I think that's become a society thing. Like, we teach kids as they're growing up to be kind, to like, share, to do all these things. At some point, probably around middle or high school, that switches and it's every man for themselves. And even sometimes as you go into college, that gets reinforced. You get into the workforce, that gets more reinforced. Um, and so I think society has warped that view to where that's not the standard people carry throughout their lives anymore, even though that should be. Is my Because sometimes basic kindness is taken for weakness. Like somebody else who you hold a door open for somebody and be like, why you hold the door open for them? They were that far away. Like why is that even the thought process? Why does it matter how far away they are? What was wrong with holding the door for them? But that's how people get now. And I think that's a function of societal expectations and how we have changed how we view kindness. Because people that are kind and just they just got stabbed in the back by somebody and they ain't doing nothing to get them back, and everybody's like putting that society pressure. No, you got to get them back. You got to get them back, and that person's like, nah, I'm good. They'll get theirs. I'm gonna keep moving, and that's taken as weakness just because they're being the better. I'm gonna say bigger person, not
Okay.
necessarily better.
So I'm gonna change a word. Hold on, Darian. I'm gonna change a word in my question because you can still answer it the same way. Does humility create narcissists or bullying?
I mean, well, in my opinion, that's like once again, I don't think so. Because we're looking at it like saying that a certain behavior creates another behavior is giving the person that's giving this bad behavior an excuse to have that behavior. That's in them. Like at the end of the day, it's like if you're a narcissist, like you're a narcissist. Like that would have nothing to do with me being humble or me being kind. So, and it goes back to what I said a second ago, where it's like I feel like people just do it for the sake of doing it because sometimes a negative response to people. Okay, so let's give a better example in the sense of like something. Like imagine if you were friends with someone and you never did anything to this person, you never, went behind their back, you never did anything crazy, and you always had their back, you was always there for this person, you made sure they were okay at all times. And it was like, and as far-fetched as it sounds, like that person never said anything bad about you. But then you turn around and then you find out that this person was talking like reckless about you behind your back. What did that person do for that other person to then talk behind them and make them look like they were crazy? And I think when it's like, once again, it goes down to the kindness thing because that first person was being as kind as they could possibly be to the other party, but the other party decided, hey, look, I don't think that's a weakness because you might, like, the person that you're doing that to could be very equipped with the ability to defend himself. He could be known throughout the community. He could be somebody that's like that people look up to. He could be a role model to people. So he's not necessarily weak in the sense of like strength or of structure, but because he didn't respond back to this person in the same energy that they gave you, that would consider them weak. But you both know they're not weak. So why would that other party then go do what they did?
Yeah,
I think that goes. Oh, go ahead, Darren.
I actually completely agree with what both Jeff and Taylor said, because when you think about it, when you say taking advantage of course, people always put a negative connotation on it, but simply taking advantage of something, especially like kindness, isn't necessarily a bad thing because when you take advantage of something, you're really just using it. But when, like, let's say you offered me some money, I'm taking advantage of you wanting to be in a giving spirit. But let's say I gave it back. Yeah, I took advantage of your giving spirit, but I also returned that to you too. But let's say I don't give it back. Not only did I take advantage of you, but I also did it in a very negative way. So you also have, so that's why when Mike asks, can taking advantage of somebody's kindness create narcissism, excuse me, in someone else, I actually don't agree with that because, like I said earlier, taking advantage is just simply making use of something. Whereas if you take advantage of it and then abuse that advantage, that's when it becomes a problem because that advantage is being abused.
And I get that because I agree with the fact that people do take the word, I'm gonna say the words advantage of, and they just automatically think negative. Like like back to holding the door for somebody in their far distance. That shows more patience than kindness to me. That's just you being chivalrous. That's having manners because you know somebody's behind you. Even if the hands are not full, let me hold this door because it's a kind gesture. That's just, something to do. So that's more about just being patient at the moment. That person that's distant, they're not taking advantage of this person's patience by walking slower. How often have we held the door and you just see somebody do that light jog because why? They acknowledge that kindness. So it's just like that question is it's disagreeable, but at the same time, like a narcissistic mentality, they don't acknowledge any like any level of emotional attachment.
But I think the thing we have to be careful of, and that's dangerous in that correlation, is that we can't put I don't want to say blame, but I can't think of a better word. We can't put blame for somebody being kind on how that affects a narcissist because that person, like just said, already had that mentality. Like if it's like two people raised in the same household can end up different. You were taught the same manners. It's almost the same type of concept. Like, just because somebody was kind to you doesn't mean that you should develop the mindset to always take advantage of somebody like that. That was already in you. Now, hopefully, you can realize that and change it before it becomes a huge problem. but that was already in you, and that shouldn't stop the secondary person from being kind. Like, I shouldn't stop being kind just because somebody else might respond as a narcissist or might be a jerk about it or anything else. Like, you might not like my given spirit, but I'll get blessed later and I'll keep it stepping. Or the universe will do something good for me later and I'll keep it stepping. Like, those two shouldn't affect each other, because we should honestly be encouraging everybody to be as kind as you can in the moment. Like, you know, if you at McDonald's deciding on your last meal, obviously don't give your money to a homeless person. But if you got a couple of dollars to spare, why not? And what that person does with that money, that's on them. Like, if they go out and use the money for drugs, or they go, you know, go do something else illegal, whatever they decide to do with that money, that doesn't negate that you had that giving spirit and you were that kind person.
Yeah, I completely understand when it comes to that. So that's more so what I was saying in the response of, like, you can't fault, and since you can't fault yourself for how you are to create someone else. Whereas, like, if that person's narcissistic or just straight up evil or mean, that's on them. And it's like, but even narcissistic people would understand a gesture of kindness, because in order to be narcissistic, you got to be self-centered, and you're self-centered. So you look at, like, hey, you look at things in the sense of, like, I deserve this. So almost everything that will be done towards you will be considered a kindness. Like, as weird as that sounds, I mean, maybe I could break it down a little bit differently. And if there's any, like, sociologists or psychologists that happen to view this platform, please explain in detail either what I'm saying, or correct me and help me understand exactly what it is I'm trying to say. And I feel like we know what I'm trying to say. Whereas, like, you're narcissistic, you think the world revolves around you. So what do you do, other than think that everything belongs to you? You're not gonna usually think everything belongs to you in the negative. You're gonna think everything belongs to you is like, I deserve this, I deserve that. Um, but to kind of go back a little bit to what I was saying a minute ago, where it's like, it's not, to me, it's not necessarily that kindness is being treated as a weakness. It's to the degree that the kindness is being treated as a weakness. Where it's like, you got people that you're loyal to, you got organizations that you're loyal to, and you do the best you can, but then you look back and be like, hey, I did that out of me being kind, without somebody looking, without, it's like, I understand you can be somebody that lives a life where it's like, you're not used to somebody doing you a good deed without them looking for something in return. So you treat everybody like that. When you meet people that's like, hey, for the majority of this time I've known this individual, they've done nothing to me, but then you still decide, hey, let me just do this, regardless of how that person feels about it, regardless of if they've earned that or not. Which follows on my next question. Um, why do you think respect is not today's standard?
I think that goes to the thing about, Mike referring to holding the door, as he felt that was more patience and chivalrous. But I think that is synonymous with kindness, because part of being chivalrous was doing those extra kind gestures. And I'm not saying chivalrous as if it's just a male only thing, because women can be chivalrous too. Like, as much as a man can hold a door, a woman can cook a meal. Like, and that's not saying all women can cook. Lord knows I struggle sometimes. But, you know, like, everybody has things they can do to be nice and extra to somebody, and it's not necessarily a gender specific thing. But at some point we lost the level of appreciation we had for that. At some point we stopped caring about how respectful somebody was, and it was more important to see how strong you were, or see how rebellious or not adventurous in a negative way, but like, how much you were going to being a rebel. Um, Stuff like that became the norm. So it's like, talking to somebody respectfully, even if you don't like them, started to be seen as fake. So I think, like, society just switched the level of importance we put on respect. And, like, I don't know how we get that back other than everybody stepping up. But I think that's, again, a societal change.
I believe, like, in a lot of cases, I know my household, especially, I'm pretty sure in you all's too, especially, don't want to take it the race way, but especially within Black households, um, we're often taught you have to give respect to get it, and a lot of people confuse that with oh, well, in order for you to receive respect from me, you have to respect me first, and I can just do what I want until I see that you are respecting me. And it's as if that connotation is carried over as you get older, instead of there just being a mutual level of respect for everyone around you. People take advantage of the, oh, well, I'm not going to respect you until you respect me first.
Um, I honestly believe that society has lost the each one teach one era, the no one's left behind, the respect is earned, same as what you just said, Darion, the treat people how I want to be treated. People have lost that mentality as a as a society. So it only takes like individuals now. It's no longer each one teach one. It's now follow this person or not. And that's how societies look at it. It's like it's more of a copy paste of society. It's no longer you can do it this way, but if you learn it this way, that's the way to do it. It's no longer there's two ways to skin a cat. It's one direction. And I think that ties into why a lot of people don't even have self-respect in order to reciprocate it or to compensate it in any way to have manners or morals towards someone's kindness.
I mean, yeah, I think in my opinion, where I feel like we lost like respect as being a standard, I think social media kind of ruined not kind of it put a hole in respect where it's like people do things for gratification now. They do things for validation. So it's like people, it's like so okay, so I do play games. I don't know why that was a revelation, but I do play video games, and I always like I find myself playing like let's say I play Call of Duty or something, and I'm always on a team with people that's complaining about camping, which is the other individuals on the other team don't move. And they just, you come to them and they catch you in the booby trap. And then my team does it. And I'm just like, well, we're not going to win anything if we camp. And they're like, well, they're camping. I'm like, yeah, but the cycle's never going to end. If you keep doing it just to combat that they're doing it, it's going to keep the cycle going. So if you step up and do something different, then things will be different. If people stop validating people on the internet, they stop idolizing these celebrities and the things they do, respect will come back because you can't be bought at that point. Whereas like you put a camera on me, if you get in my face and you about to jump on me, and you put a camera on me, I'm walking away. See how it is? Like you see how like people probably gonna think, oh, he's getting hyped up. No, I'm gonna walk away because you're not gonna make me hurt somebody or somebody hurt me just for your validation. Like I'm showing them respect, which in terms respect myself. And a lot of people, they see that because you respect yourself, they respect you even more. And in my opinion, like that's a part, but it's even if it creates a small part, social media being the downfall of respect, even though it's a small portion, within that small portion, it's a big portion. Like there's no anything else outside of social media within the realms of social media that caused the degradation of it. Where, I just look at it like you treat everybody how you want to be treated. And a lot of times it's multiple things. It can be the household where your parents they're so stressed about what they got to deal with that they don't even teach you like morals and everything like that. And it's like I understand how you dealt with stuff, but that's not my fault. So teach me standards, teach me morals, teach me respect, so that I can then go respect somebody else. Because nowadays you got people who like back in the day when I was younger, like we fight, we move on, shake hands, we see each other tomorrow. We fight again, we might fight 10 times that week, but we're gonna be tired and be like, you trying to hoop? Like it just becomes redundant. But nowadays it's like you're gonna respect me so much that I'm willing to end you 100% so I don't lose respect. And you also run into people who, and that this does tie back into being like a kind of being treated as a weakness because like I've been called a punk before in my life from people that have seen me walk away from a fight. But everybody that knows me in my circle knows that I'm not afraid to fight. But if I'm playing basketball and we just checked up, I'm not about to fight at the beginning of the game and then both of us got to check out. That's stupid. Either we can fight at the end of the game or we can just move on. It's not that big of a deal. Like, so you don't realize how much you could ruin just by your actions from the jump. Like, I'm not saying fight later. It's not what I'm saying. But if I had to say fight instead of shoot, I'd rather say that. But I'm not saying fight at all. But it's like there's nothing wrong walking away because as a person who has been involved in like I guess professional settings, um, just because you're professionally trained doesn't mean you're equipped with street performance and you're fighting for your life. Is it really worth it? Because you don't know what that person's fighting for. You don't know what's gonna happen when you get kicked, knocked down. You don't know what they're gonna do. And I'm not here to risk that. So just because you walk away, it's not a weakness. And just because someone walks away, that doesn't mean they're weak. That's actually the strongest person, me.
It's almost as if people got so hung up on trying to be respected that they literally forgot the definition of respect to the point to where kindness is almost dead. Like you have to dig just to find that kindness. It doesn't come natural to folks. Like I tell people all the time, like, look, I'm not a nice person. I can be kind, I can be friendly, but I'm not a nice person. But I know at the end of the day, that means that, well, for me personally, that means like, look, I have no problem disrespecting you whatsoever, but I would never go out of my way to do so unless I was disrespected first. And that's only if I even feel like you're even worth disrespecting at that point. Like like what do I gain from disrespecting you? Do I save face? Do I look like the bigger, stronger person, or do I just defame myself?
Um, I'll continue that one. It's the same as like you turn the other cheek. And I was just something other than I remember somebody was talking about turning the other cheek. And he says if somebody do you wrong, you turn the other cheek, they say that person that turns the other cheek is perceived as weak. But if you look at the cheek that you're turning, you're presenting the other cheek, the cheek that's calm, the cheek that's not bruised, the cheek that hasn't been punctured. Because the other one, that's you've been disrespected, you've been hurt. So now you gotta check yourself. If you're gonna disrespect yourself because you were disrespected, then you won't gain no respect from it. You won't gain no kindness from it. But if it takes like a small acknowledgement to say, no, that person's humbled. Like anybody can respond in a negative way. Like that's easy for society right now.
I think I'm gonna go back to one thing Jeff was saying about social media and how it kind of has degraded respect. Um, I'm gonna start by saying social media helped connect us in a way that we've never been connected before. None of us can deny that. Social media sometimes is the only way I've even been able to stay in contact with people who I no longer live near, have moved out of state, out of country, whatever it may be. So social media, it does have its advantages. However, what's become predominant is negative. What gets the most views is a negative sometimes. What gets the most attention is drama and messiness and things like that. So also the thing with social media is I think it became more to Jeff's point earlier about, people are doing it because they can. Well, guess what? In social media, the person you talking junk to is 3 states away. So you don't feel like you'll ever have to face any consequences for it because it's social media. You can say what you want, you can post videos that you want, all those types of things, because that you don't know how close or far that person is. And with social media and the way it connects us in ways that we haven't been connected before, which is great, but most of the time that person is far away. So I think social media in that aspect enabled people to be more disrespectful more quickly because they're not going to face any consequences for it.
Like you wouldn't say that if you were closer to someone because you just I don't really know how to break it down in detail, but I feel like you did a good job of it. But that's true. People do have a tendency of thinking they get away with a lot of stuff because you live far away. But
Uh, oh my bad.
no, go ahead.
No, you ended it what with Taylor's point because I literally wrote in my notes. That's why when she said the social media, I was like, oh, because I forgot to say it. But it was like I wrote down that there's no kind or respectful people curating the narrative on media, which is where we come in. But I was just like, all right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
like, and that's why I said, sorry, Jeff, but that's why I said social media, like, in itself is not bad because, for one, it gives us the chance to kind of create this platform to hopefully start going against that own narrative. It gives us the chance to speak about these things in a positive way to, promote growth and things like that. But unfortunately, that's not the majority that we see in social media right now. The things that get the most attention have historically, since social media started, have been the negative. Like,
mhm.
somebody getting beat up, like, or jumped, that video is going to go viral before a video goes viral of somebody that, got in a car crash, but still made it able to walk across the stage and finish out their degree. Like, one's going to go viral way faster than the other. And you're going to see a lot more negative comments on the video of somebody that got jumped than you will see positive comments on the person that, was able to walk across the stage after a tragedy. So I think it's just re-establishing that, that positivity is more important because even just, telling somebody congratulations, it don't matter how long it's been since you've seen them. All those congratulations for somebody doing something good on social media are a kindness because you didn't have to take the time to leave a message. You could have kept scrolling. So we can still be kind in that social media setting by taking the time to leave a positive message, taking the time to be like, yo, you all right? This status sounds a little weird. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. Like, all that could be a kindness, but we don't normalize that.
Do you think that rudeness or toughness is recognized as a strength versus like a weakness of being kind?
I
And if you do
see.
think it does, why? Or if you don't think it was, just why in general?
There's many different examples of people where they see somebody going through something painful or maybe just having a tough time, and they will go out of their way just to make things harder for them. And they find entertainment in it, or they feel like it makes them look better because somebody else is going through a worse time than they are. So it's like, oh, well, I'm doing better than you, so I'm obviously better.
Yeah, and before Mike goes, um, I don't recognize strength. I don't recognize rudeness as a strength, but I can understand how people can see that, and it's all summarized in one word: insecurity. Um, a lot of people go through stuff, they deal with stuff, and it's like, okay, I get beat up at home, I get bullied at home, I go through this, I've been through something in my childhood, I've been through something just over the years. I'm gonna take it on the next person. And insecurity. They don't want people to catch them in a lie. They don't want people to know their truth. They don't want people to see that they had a moment of weakness when they came to whatever. I mean, let's scratch that. I don't want to say a moment of weakness because if you've been through something, that's not a moment of weakness. That's just a moment you've been through. It's not a moment of weakness. And the fact you were able to make it out is the biggest strength in the world. So let's just remember that. But I do think it's just insecurity.
Um, Agreed, because I always believe that like rudeness, it has to come from anger. It's like you're not about to be in a happy mood and be rude to somebody. Just it doesn't make sense to emotions. But if if you could just be assertive, then you can eliminate rudeness entirety because that domino effect of negativity, the way that same as same as how media plays a mental diet for some people's perspective. It's like for society when somebody's rude, every time they see a video on their timeline that's gonna show somebody being rude, they're going to always relate to that because they felt it in reality.
Okay, so what Mike just said, that actually I'm pretty sure we've all seen SpongeBob, right? That actually reminds me of that episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob was trying to figure out how to be tougher. And Plankton was telling him, oh, well, you have to learn to be more assertive. And everything that he did was literally something just to be nasty and just generally unpleasant to any and everybody around him. Like, nah, that's not the way to that's not the way to show that you're tough by taking advantage of others, by being mean and nasty, and just, for lack of a better term, being an a-hole.
And my response came from that episode. Because he was being taught, no, because he was being taught by someone that was angry. So he's not showing him kindness to be assertive. Like Plankton's mad because his competition is who? SpongeBob's boss. So you got to look at it as like, yo, he's mad because why? This man has a secret that helps him succeed for the same business across the street. And now your best employee looks weak. So now I got to teach him to be strong. So I got to teach him to be strong as me, aggressively, but I'm angry. So I can't show him. Like, remember, it's also an episode where SpongeBob teaches Plankton how to have fun. So he has to teach him through happiness, not anger.
You can really only teach somebody from what you know, but at the same time, that's not well. That kind of is redundant because I was about to say you learn it, you can teach it, but you'd have to learn it. But just one thing, a lot of people that are treating people's weaknesses, I mean people's kindness as weakness. There's something that we once again go back to the beginning that we don't pay attention to. A lot of times people are overly kind. When you look at them like, why are they overly kind? And why are they this? Or why are they that? A lot of people are overly kind because they're trying to protect you from the them that they don't want you to know. You know, and I made it a vow that granted you'll see me mad. Like that's a given. You're gonna see me mad in life. But you're never going to you're never going to see me out of character. Like you're never going to like see me go on a rampage and flip stuff and blow stuff up and do this and do that. It's like I'm pretty much controlled when it comes to that. And because I know that like how I get when I'm angry is like I try my best to just be as kind as possible. Not that I gotta try, that's just who I am, but you know, and then going to another situation, it's like I have a neighbor, an old neighbor where I used to live at. Um, nicest guy in the world, like nicest guy in the world. Also teaches morals. Whereas like he'll work on my car for me when I was younger, but he will always say, "I'll teach you how to do whatever it is I'm doing one time. Everything else you have to learn." Meaning you'd have to watch me. If you don't watch me the first time, you got to figure out on your own. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is, um, nicest guy in the world. You ever met him? You're like, hey, this dude nice. Always want to talk to you. I ride down the street. Hey, what's up? I'm like, hey, you know, you saw me. I know it's her family. Two little teeny toy dogs, like just yapping away. But this man was shot in his head. He blind in one eye. He used to be a gang member. Came out of did a stint in prison for a long time. But you would never know that. And he was like, well, I'm like this because I want to protect my family from the me that I was. Whereas like I know that I can gain more in life by being as kind as possible than going down trying to shake everybody down for things that I got or I wanted. Yeah, I was luckily and fortunate enough to make it this far with the decisions I've made, but me being kind has got me much further now than where I would have been if I had maintained the lifestyle that I have. But if you would have judged him based on what he did, or if you'd have known him during the time of him doing what he did, you would never guess in 100 million years that the person he is today, he would ever become that person. So a lot of people were overly kind because that's the me that I want you to know. The other me is not important. It's like who I am today. It's more controlled. It's more patient. It's more understanding. It's more accepting. It's more loving, and Yeah, so don't think this just because somebody's being kind that they're being weak. Some people do it for your protection and their own.
I want to give y'all and the audience a quote that I've heard quite a few times, and one that I've actually taken personally, especially considering things that I've done in my life, as far as like places that I've, well, not really places, but milestones that I've chosen to take in my life. Just because someone is at peace does not mean they're not trained for war.
Correct.
So never give a peaceful man a reason to go to war.
That's the caption for the episode.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Facts.
I guess we'll end it there. You know, a little bit choppy. I know, but we're working on better ways of kind of moving the conversations along, and have a deeper insight on a lot that's going on. So on that note, it's been another episode of Normalize You. Yeah.
Thanks for watching Normalize You. And don't forget to catch me every other Friday with your question of the week. And you can send in questions as well. Please reach out on our social media or our email and send us your questions, your topics, your responses. We actually do read them. Hope to see you there.